Our speaker today is UW-Madison women's volleyball coach, Kelly Sheffield. Coach Sheffield earned his bachelor's degree in general studies from Ball State University in 2001 after taking several years off to coach. He came to Madison in 2013 from the University of Dayton, where he had coached for 5 years. In 6 years at UW-Madison, Coach Sheffield has put Badger volleyball among the nation's elite programs. Indeed, the UW-Madison has consistently been ranked among the top teams in the nation. So we look forward to your presentation, Coach Sheffield, and we've made a contribution to the Rotary International Polio Plus Fund as a way to say thank you for speaking to us today. A quick reminder that if we have time for questions, please be sure to wait for the microphone. Thank you.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words have a way of getting under my skin and burrowing within. But when I'm feeling low and wanna throw it all away, you pick me up and seem to know just what to say. It's always darkest just before the dawn. Count us in the eye of the storm, and every end is just the beginning of something brand new. So if you're feeling lost and tired, if you're feeling uninspired, you gotta keep your head up, keep your head up, keep your head up, and we'll make it through.
This program had never had a regular season week like what we just had.
Together we are more. 'Cause with you by my side, if I can see it in my mind, if I believe I can achieve anything, it's always darkest just before the dawn. Count us in the eye of the storm, and every end is just the beginning of something brand new. So if you're feeling lost and tired, if you're feeling uninspired, you gotta keep your head up, keep your head up, keep your head up, and we'll make it through. We'll make it through. Keep your head up, don't let it drop. We'll make it through, and we'll make it through.
That was earned. We didn't backdoor ourselves into this. That was hard, hard, hard.
How I look in the crowd.
I paid the cost to wear this gold up on my head. Long nights in the gym, still wouldn't go to bed. A good general, I make sure that my soldiers fed. Barely made it out alive, we were so close to death. So you don't pose no threat, walking in some chosen steps. When you build the muscle up, that's when you supposed to flex. Play my cards like a pro in a poker bet. Therefore you shall respect that.
We know loyalty, this is the new regime. Countdown, tell me how I look in the crowd. Loyal to the game, you'll remember my name. Countdown, tell me how I look in the crowd. Tell me how I look in the crowd.
Should take a selfie, man, the crown never looked so good. Do the most.
Just kept playing our game. Just kept playing our game. That's why you're going to pitch.
Like a Tyco motor, I smell your fear in the air. It's such a ripe aroma. When I sit on the throne, that's all I need to know, bruh.
Tell me how I look in the
Feel no royalty, this is the new regime. Bow down, tell me how I look in the crowd. Loyal to the game, you'll remember my name. Bow down, tell me how I look in the crowd.
Made us all proud, and man, did you compete!
Tell me how I look in the crowd. Tell me how I look in the crowd.
I got to start off by apologizing here. I had a speech all written out, but unfortunately Nancy Pelosi ripped it up, so. We'll, prior to a match at the end of our season, I was sitting at an opponent's bench right before our match was about ready to start, and I was talking with the head coach, and he's grumbling and went on for a couple minutes and telling me how bad his team's chemistry was. 2 hours later, we were celebrating a Big Ten championship on his court. 2 weeks later, he was looking for a new job. Later, and trust me, I've been in that situation as well, looking for a new job. But I came back to that conversation as on our flight back home to Madison. My mind kept going back to that conversation. This head coach was talking about the team's dysfunctional chemistry as if it was their fault, when in fact it was his fault. In my mind, establishing good chemistry is the most important thing that a leader must bring to an organization. My number one job isn't to win matches, graduate players, bring in money, increase our fan base, make sure our staff is happy, or even making sure that the players are getting better. My number one job is to create a culture where all of those things can happen. The culture leads to those things. Watching that video, I get chills watching that. Nice. The beginning of it, you see the little kids lined up around the court and smiling. See a fired up crowd and teammates supporting one another. I see athleticism, power, skill, joy, passion, love, leadership, relentlessness, and competitive drive. I see a sold out crowd every single home match. There's so much that goes into all of that, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of a glimpse of what happens behind the curtain. As we found out this year, and as probably most of us in here know, that success is rarely a straight line up, and that certainly was not the case for our team this year. It started back with a 13-day team trip to Europe in early June. We went to Prague, Vienna, Lake Bled, Vienna, Maribor, Venice, Milan, and Rome. Pretty sure I mentioned a couple of those twice, but where we trained and competed and saw some amazing places. We came back here, we got started with our summer camps, where we got about a little more than 2,300 campers that come in here from across the country, and that led into the start of our season. We ended our pre-conference season 4-4, which none of us thought that we'd be in that situation. It was a team that had national championship aspirations, and you find yourself at a 500 record going into the Big Ten. Our first loss was a home match to Marquette, where we had 3 match points to sweep them, had 3 more match points in the 4th set to win the match, and gave up a 7-point run in the 5th to lose the match. The second loss was to Baylor, where we gave up a 7-point run to lose a big lead in the 1st set and a 6-point run in the 3rd that led to the loss. Our next 2 were back-to-back losses to a very good Washington team. The first time at home, where we gave up big leads, and the second match at their place, where we got absolutely clobbered. My message to the team at that point into conference play was this: we're now heading into Big Ten play. The preseason results don't matter. We're 0-0, just like everybody else. We have to get better. And guess what? I'd be saying the exact same thing to you guys, whether we were 8-0, 0-8, or 4-4. We're 0-0. We've got to get better. And the goals you want to achieve are still possible and they're still in front of you. So let's get to work. I think it's easy to be positive and optimistic when things are going your way, but a leader must do those things when things are tough. We want to have the mindset that just because something's hard doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's hard. It's difficult. There's a sign on the Colorado River that says, be an active participant in your own rescue. Meaning if you fall out of the raft, don't just sit there and wait for the raft to come to you. You go to the raft. And it's something that we use a lot. We talk about that. Matter of fact, there's a sign in my office that says that. Somebody made that for me. It's made out of wood, and it's be an active participant in your own rescue. Sheffield Rafting Company. And one of the things we talk to them about is, all right, it's there's excuses everywhere if you're finding it. All right, I'm in class and I'm getting a low grade in this class because blah blah blah. I mean, there's 100 excuses. I don't understand the professor, or it's this or it's that, and it's, well, then go get help. Go see a TA, or go get a tutor, or I'm not getting the playing time that I'm wanting. All right, well, then be an active participant in your own rescue. Get the gym, get some work done, get the reps. I don't have the role that I'm wanting. All right, and so that's kind of something that we say quite a bit. And you're not happy where you're at 4-4, then be an active participant in your own rescue. We can sit around and whine about it or complain, but let's get to work. I thought the stick-to-itiveness of this group when we were 4-4 was great. The players continued to come to practice, mindful about their improvement. They stuck together and believed in the process. And we won our first 12 matches in conference, including wins against the number 2, number 5, and number 6 teams in the country, and went on to win the Big Ten. For those of you that don't follow college volleyball closely, there's 335 Division I teams, pretty much the same amount as there are in basketball. In men's basketball, no conference has more than 2 teams in the top 8 currently in the national poll. In football, no conference ended the year with more than 2 teams ranked in the top 8. But entering the season in volleyball, the Big Ten had 5 of the top 8 teams in the national poll. That's how gnarly the Big Ten conference is in our sport. One of the things we did in preseason and then kept coming back to throughout the season was something that we called adversity school. The idea was that adversity was going to hit at some point in life. It always does. But we wanted to be able to adjust and adapt when it did. We would change our mindset and actually try to embrace adversity. Sounds weird, but that's what we were trying to do. We wanted to be a team that was better at handling it than anyone else, and still keep moving forward. So all these types of things that we were kind of presenting, some of it has to do with our sport, some of it has to do with life. Adversity is going to hit. You're going towards the Final Four and your significant other breaks up with you. Well, what are you going to do? Is it going to take you 3 weeks to pick yourself back up and go? What happens? You've got a test that you've got to study for the night before, and you're not getting quite enough sleep. What happens? We've got quite a few coffee drinkers on our team. What happens on game day? You can't find a coffee house anywhere. What are you going to do? The bus suffers a flat tire. There's all kinds of things that can happen. And are you going to let those things affect you for something that you've trained all year long and for a good portion of your life, if these things that are called life come and hit you? And so we did a lot of discussion about that. When we got to the Final Four, we hit the adversity jackpot. The NCAA put us up in an unacceptable hotel and left us scrambling to find a new one at the last minute. Our plane was delayed 4 hours as we're heading and had us getting into Pittsburgh pretty late that night. We had players taking finals while we're at the Final Four. That actually happens, our Final Four trip, our regionals and our Final Four, that is going during finals. Molly Haggerty woke up on match day really, really sick. And then there was our bus driver. Our bus driver, so the night before our Final Four, we had this big banquet with the Final Four teams, and we've got a police escort everywhere we're in town, and he's going, and we've got, armed security guard that's standing up there right next to the door as the bus is going. And I think this bus driver's heart was in the right place, but I think the pressure of the moment probably got to him a little bit, and he's flying through traffic and really, really kind of getting antsed up. Let me back up. Our first practice, he goes and is bringing us back to the hotel, and he's trying to park the bus, and he rams into a car that is behind him with so much force that the car behind the car had damage. And then we're going to our banquet, and he's trying to get us into close to the door and takes us in an area where no vehicles were allowed to go, and is knocking over light structures, flattening light structures to get in there. I've got more. We are heading to play the number one team in the country in the Final Four, and we are driving there, and I'm in the front, and he starts yelling at traffic. A lot of, I don't know, you name the words, he was using it. And I'm sitting there going, all right, stay calm here. This is what our team is going into, is he is making the energy in that bus, like he's redlining it and driving through Pittsburgh traffic at rush hour. And we get there, and we win our match, and we get back on the team. We'd already taken the team back. The coaches stayed to watch the second semifinal, and I'm the first one back on the bus, and right when I get on, the bus dies, and it's just him and me. And he gets on the phone with somebody and starts screaming at the top of his lung that the bus is broken and somebody's got to get here immediately right now. I'm tired of waiting on this. This is blah, blah, blah. A lot of beeps going on right now. And I stood up and I said, everything's okay. I got up. We got the rest of our coaching staff that was walking on. I said, we're walking back to the hotel. So you've got 18,000 fans that are leaving the arena from the second semifinal, and here comes the Wisconsin staff right through all the fans walking through to our hotel going, what in the world are you guys doing? We got a new bus driver. He became Baylor's bus driver. And at the All-American banquet the next day, as we're leaving, we're all dressed up, leaving, we walk up to the first bus. We get on the bus, and the bus driver said, this isn't your bus. The next one is. This is Baylor's bus. It was that bus driver that was there telling us we're on the wrong bus. And so, looking back, I thought we handled things really well. The discussion and preparation going in really helped, which gives credence to there's no little things. At the end of our pre-conference schedule, we were 4-4. We went on to win the Big Ten and playing in the national championship game. In the Final Four, we played top-seeded and number one ranked team in the country, Baylor, a team that we lost to at home early in our season. After losing the first set, we won the next three. At the end of the highlight video was a video of our locker room right after the match. Since our last match, our loss in the championship, I've heard from so many people that have said, great season. Man, what a tough way to end it. And I just don't look at it that way. Do we want to bring a national championship to Madison? Absolutely. There's nothing like the thrill of competition and the pursuit of victory. But the thing that I absolutely love more than that is growth. And this team and the individual players have all grown a lot. I'm here with our technical coordinator, Anne-Marie Hickey, and rising senior outside hitter, Grace Loberg. You guys have already met them. Hey, Grace, have you won a national championship?
Not yet.
We talk about the power of yet. It's and the importance of that. Maybe I'm not a starter yet. Maybe I haven't won a Big Ten or national championship yet. Maybe I'm not on the honor roll yet. At a tough part in our season, I showed the team an interview of Kobe Bryant's, and he was asked what losing felt like. His response, I think, surprised everybody in the room. He was asked, what does losing feel like? And he said, it's exciting. The process of coming back after things don't go your way is excited. Are you angry in the moment? Are you frustrated? Are you disappointed in the moment? You absolutely are. But then you go and you figure out what is not going well, what you didn't do well enough, and then you attack it with mindfulness and discipline and pursuit that ramps up even more. And that being in those moments are exciting. And that's what we were trying to tap into during the season, and that's kind of the approach right now heading into this next year with this group. Moving forward, we graduate 5 players that represent the greatest servant leadership class I've ever coached. Mallory Dixon is looking at grad programs around the country and will be playing her 5th year at one of them. Sarah Dodd will be heading into the workforce, hoping to use her degree from the business school here. Emmy Dodge will be going to grad school somewhere and will be playing beach volleyball at that school. Tiffany Clark and Madison Duello are talking to agents and planning on playing pro. They'll be joining Jules McCulson, Romana Kriskova, Lauren Carlini, Lauren Gillis, and Tiana Williams, former Badgers, who are all playing professionally. Since these are student athletes, I'm also extremely proud that this past semester the team accomplished the highest GPA in program history. We have a lot of talent coming back. Dana Redke, Sydney Hilly, Grace, Molly Haggerty, Danielle Hart, Izzy Ashburn, and Lauren Barnes are all starters that are coming back. We bring in Deanna Kraft, a 5th-year beach transfer from Pepperdine, outside hitter Jade Dimps, setter MJ Hamill, and middle blocker Devin Robinson, who graduated from high school early and is on campus now going to classes and training with the team. For 4 years in a row, we've sold out every match in the field house, which has us 2nd in the country in attendance. I want to thank everyone who has supported us along the way. I especially want to thank Marv Levy that's back there in the back and how much he has meant to our program. He's really going to be angry with me mentioning him right now, but deal with it. It's the support we get here is unbelievable, and the number of people that I know that are in this room that have been coming here, going to the matches for decades. It's one of the special places about being able to be fortunate enough to coach at this school, this university, and this athletic department. We're excited about what's in front of us. Thank you for having me here today. It's truly an honor. I think we've got a few minutes for a couple questions here.
Coach, one of the things that's always intriguing to me is how you identify recruits, given that you may be looking at 9th, 10th graders even, and how you identify someone who can grow to the extent you need to see them so many years into the future, given where they are at that age.
It's a great question. I mean, so much of probably what a lot of us in here to do is we're trying to attract talent, and try to bring in people to help elevate what we're trying to do. And obviously they've got to bring something special to the table athletically. But beyond that, this isn't what we're doing isn't for everybody, and we're not trying to be everything for everybody. This is who we are. This is going to be, we're going to be a blue collar group. We're going to work hard. We're going to be, and if you're going to work hard at anything, you've got to be passionate about what that is. You've got to care about the people around you. One of the traits that I'm looking for is, can somebody learn? Can they learn quickly? And so somewhere along the line of when we're recruiting them, I'm going to tell them there are things that they're not good at, or things that I'm disappointed. I was disappointed you weren't paying attention to your coach, or I don't like the energy or the how you were going about things, or your serve is weak. And I want to see how they're going to respond to that. And if they sit there and say, they lean into that, and they say, okay, all right, yes, I agree, I've got to get better at that, then those are usually people that are going to have success with us. If there's somebody that's going to be immediately go to an excuse, there's a reason, and it's not only them, it's their parents. If they're wired that way to go to right to an excuse, I'm batting like 0 with those types of people. It's hard. And if you're always going to be looking towards an excuse and not interested in being great, you're just going to have a tough time fitting in here. So that's one of the things we're looking for as well.
Why does one player wear a different colored jersey than the other players?
I was going to give a joke, but I'm just not going to right now. It's called the libero. We started that probably about 8 to 10 years ago. It is a defensive-only position that gets to stay in the back row for 6 rotations. They wear a separate jersey because we get, as coaches, we get 15 subs throughout the course of a set. That person can come in and out at free will without utilizing one of those subs.
Hi, Coach. Thanks for coming today. I had the honor of serving on the athletic board, and I want to commend you because I think it might have been your first year. And reading over the athletic board in part of the review of coaches, read student evaluations. And as the parent of sons and daughters that were athletes, I understand that sometimes coaching young women can be challenging. The whole athletic board was...
Are you saying men aren't challenging?
Well,
is that what you're saying there?
In a different way. So anyway, what I wanted to say is we were so impressed that even in your first year when you're coming in, these aren't all your recruits. You had built that kind of environment, that climate of bringing together a team that had spanned 2 coaches. And just thank you for doing that. Thank you for bringing excitement to Madison. Even people that can't get in to the field house because it's sold out have been enjoying your success. And it's wonderful to have some of your athletes with us, student athletes with us.
Thank you.
Coach Sheffield, you answered a lot of things that answer the question I'm going to ask, but I'm going to ask you a little different way. Your team, even if when they're losing, they seem to be having more fun than the other team. And I want to know if there's something on the court at that moment. I mean, you explained a lot of things that go into preparation, but is there something at the court at that moment that you could tell us that you do that maintain that attitude even when they're losing?
I think there is that's a great question, and I would say that there's Grace and Anne Marie would be the first ones to say that's been a work in progress. It's not easy. I think behind that is, can you relieve stress? And I think when you can enjoy something even when things aren't going your way, there's a confidence inside that tells you, hey, everything will be all right. And I think that confidence is earned, and it's earned over time. This was a team that was not like that, Grace's freshman year. They'd get really, really tense and uptight and frustrated, and the game's 1-0. What are we getting that stressed about, man, right now? And But I think there is they put the work in. They've earned the right to sit there and say, all right, I believe in this. And there's a constant reminder, hey, can we stay in the moment? Let's not judge the moment. Let's just stay in the moment and find out what we need to do to get the next. And a bad night of playing the sport that you love in front of 7,000 fans, a bad night of that, if you lose, that is still better than what most people are doing at that exact same moment. So how bad can it really be here? And so trying to add a little bit of perspective, I think.
Next question.
Women's sports haven't always been respected or appreciated. So you've mentioned several times that the field house is sold out, always sold out when this team plays. Has that always been the case, or has that happened over time?
This is Steve Lowe was a coach that really elevated what the number of people that are coming here. I mean, there's been matches, as I'm sure some of you guys have been at, that have had 10,000 plus fans in. And, so it certainly wasn't something that I brought to the table. This is consistently year in and year out been a top 5 attendance team in the country. With that said, when we got here in 2013, the previous year, there were 3,200 fans that were in that we averaged, and there weren't that many on a nightly basis. There weren't that many rear ends in the seats. I think people appreciate, they can watch players like Grace, and they watch the joy and the enthusiasm, the competitiveness and the athleticism and the fight and all that. And I think you've got all the kids that are lined up around the court going into it. Those players are inspiring the next generation and the younger players with how they play and how they go about things. And I think it's easy to jump in as a fan. It's easy to watch when somebody is putting everything out there on a nightly basis.
Final question. Hey, Coach. You said you'd like to bring in the finals here from the field house sometime. Would that include more improvements at the field house, maybe?
Yeah, we've got some people here that are working on trying to get the Final Four to Madison. We're still continuing to work on trying to make the field house a better place. If we get the Final Four, that will be over in the Kohl Center, because you're talking 16, 17, 18,000 people that go to the Final Four, which is bigger than what the field house has. And I know we're out of time. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Kelly, for that presentation, and we are adjourned.